Hi, I'm Paul Christopher, I'm your happiness expert, and this video is going to be all about sex and the fact that happiness should go with sex. Sex and happiness should go together. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And yet there's appalling statistics, things that just shock me. Over 1/3 of Americans are unsatisfied with their sex lives. They say their sex lives are unhappy. And the numbers get worse when you are talking about women specifically, and they get worse still as people get older, so that fully 80% of women who are boomers, a little older than me, report unsatisfactory sex lives. It's atrocious. So I'm gonna do a little series of videos on sex and happiness, and I wanna keep it an adult conversation. And if you wanna see this kind of content and improve your own lives, click the subscribe button and let's get right to it. As a coach, public speaker, and best-selling author, I teach topics just like this one all around the world. So stay tuned and I'll give you practical tools that you can use to make both yourself and those around you both happier and more successful. So this week's video is all about sex and happiness, and it seems like a bit of an absurd topic. I mean, polite company doesn't talk about sex, do they? And especially people of my generation. I'm over 50. I was raised Catholic, for crying out loud. In fact, I can remember the school principal teaching the sex ed class when I was in junior high, and the man was so uncomfortable, it was hilarious, perspiring as he talked to kids about their bodies, this normal, beautiful function that we have as human beings, and he was utterly ashamed of it and utterly ashamed of the need to teach this topic and super uncomfortable. And that's true for a lot of us. Like, we just were raised to be uncomfortable with our own bodies and the fact that we have this sexual expression. And it's getting better. You know, I look at my kids and they're growing up in a generation that's just got a lot more comfort with their own sexuality. And I think in different countries it's better than some others. Here in North America, we're still pretty repressed. You know, when I was a young man, we thought that there was only one kind of sexuality that was okay. It was heterosexual monogamy, and everything else was off limits and unacceptable. And now we're in a society where things are just a lot more easygoing. And I want these videos to be in that light, in this idea that we can be whoever we are. I've got a dear, dear friend who refers to her own sexuality as fluid. No labels. You don't have to say that she's trans or bi or queer or anything like that. She just is fluid. She's got a sexuality that's healthy and well expressed and more liberal than the mainstream heterosexual monogamy might imply. But the truth is, we all probably have nuances. No matter how straight you might think you are, it's more nuanced than you think. You know, sometimes you might want to be really tender and soft, and other times hard and rough, you know, and so there's fluidity for us all. And I want to approach these videos with that sense of liberation that I'm talking about, where we're just not coming from this place of 40 years ago and repression. And I want to bring today this focus on there are 3 basic ways to get happier in life: pleasure, engagement, that's getting in the flow, and meaning. And let's talk about one of those ways of getting happy: pleasure. And pleasure is all about the senses. It's about touch, smell, taste, hear, sight. And when we're getting a lot of pleasure, it's instant. We only need to listen to our favorite song for just a moment and we go, oh, that's a great song, and it makes us happy right away. Or you walk into a house and there's fresh bread coming out of the oven and oh, that's instantly pleasurable. You get this big dopamine rush and immediately your mood is lifted and you feel great. That's pleasure. And obviously we can get pleasure from any one of our senses, but the reason why sex is such a wonderful way to get pleasure is because it's all 5 of those senses. So when you think about sex as a source of pleasure, obviously it should be this smorgasbord of wonderful experiences. And it's not like chocolate. We don't want to gobble it down in a hurry. We want to savor that chocolate. And so our sexual experiences, we should be savored. And some of our dissatisfaction by sex might be reflected in this statistic. It takes about 4 minutes on average for a man to orgasm, and more like 20 minutes on average for a woman to orgasm. So you can appreciate why those statistics look like women are less satisfied than men. So there's a lesson for us all in this, is that if we prolong the experience and savor it, that is when we're going to get our most satisfaction from this wonderfully juicy, pleasurable experience that is our sex life. And if you consider the things that we find pleasure in, these five senses. If sight is important, then we want to look at our beautiful lover and see the fabrics that they're wearing before you have the pleasure of taking those clothes off. And men, consider the fact that women have more pleasurable experience with sight than we might consider, because men know that we're all into what we see. Women are there too, so take care of your appearances. And prolong that part of the experience. And the same with smell. Smell your lover's hair, smell her neck, smell her other nether regions, and make sure you're fully enjoying that part of the experience. And as you touch, softness, and on parts of the body it's firm, and really accentuate that experience of the touch sense. And listen to your lover. Her murmurs, his grunting. I mean, really think about it, that is part of the experience. And then finally, I want you to think about taste and how lovely the human body can be, the slight perspiration and other parts of the body that taste wonderful. So if we use our senses, it's kind of a meditative experience as we're seeking pleasure in sex, our sex will simply be better and make our sex lives happier. And in order to do that, it is not a rush to the finish. Instead, it's a prolonged experience. The longer typically, the better, although at some point we're raw and sore and it's no longer fun. But generally speaking, our sex lives are hurried like so many other parts of our lives, and we really need to slow down. And here's a little tip to you men out there. If you're coming before she does, you're probably doing something wrong. So give that some thought. Men are almost guaranteed to get your orgasm every time. Be thoughtful lovers. Get your woman's pleasure in lots and lots and lots. And at some point after a lovely, pleasurable dining experience with your lover, then you can get your own pleasure. Hey, if you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel. You'll get a new video every Sunday morning. If you like this content, press the like button and share it with those people that you dare share anything about sex with. Thanks for watching. See you next week.